What if the next 5 years of your life are already being shaped by what you choose to do in the next 5 minutes? Let that sink in. Not next year. Not when you feel ready. Not when you have more money, more clarity, more confidence. I'm talking about today, this hour, this decision. Most people drift into the future. They don't design it. They wake up 5 years older, frustrated, disappointed, wondering how time moved so fast. But time didn't move fast. They moved unconsciously. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you keep doing what you're doing, thinking how you're thinking, surrounding yourself with the same influences, your life 5 years from now will look almost identical, just with more regret attached to it. That's not a motivational statement. That's math. The trajectory you're on right now is predictable. Your habits predict it. Your standards predict it. The conversations you tolerate predict it. The risks you avoid predict it. And if you don't like the direction, you don't need a miracle. You need a shift. Fixing the next 5 years doesn't require a dramatic reinvention. It requires an honest confrontation. Because the life you want and the life you have are separated by decisions you're postponing. We like to believe that clarity comes before action. It doesn't. Action creates clarity. You don't find purpose by thinking about it for 5 years. You discover purpose by moving, testing, failing, adjusting, and growing. The people you admire didn't wait to feel ready. They started messy. They started uncertain. They started scared. The difference is they started. Right now, there are two versions of you. The current you, comfortable, predictable, slightly frustrated, and the future you, disciplined, focused, respected, fulfilled. The gap between them is not talent. It's not luck. It's not connections. It's standards. What are you willing to tolerate from yourself? What excuses are you still negotiating with? What conversations are you avoiding because they're uncomfortable? 5 years is enough time to completely transform your income, your health, your relationships, your confidence. It's also enough time to waste if you keep waiting for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. There is only the moment you decide that drifting is no longer acceptable. And today can be that moment. So the real question isn't whether you can fix the next 5 years of your life. The real question is, are you finally ready to take responsibility for them? Let's start with something simple. If you want to fix the next 5 years of your life, you must first fix your direction. Most people are obsessed with speed. They want quick growth, fast money, rapid success. But speed is irrelevant if you're moving in the wrong direction. You can run as fast as you want. If you're headed east when your dream is west, you're just getting lost faster. So the first question isn't, how hard should I work? The first question is, where am I actually going? Clarity is power. And clarity doesn't begin with a 5-year plan. It begins with identity. Who do you want to become? Not what do you want to have? Not what title do you want? Who do you want to be when nobody is watching? Do you want to be disciplined, respected, calm under pressure, financially independent, physically strong, emotionally stable? Because goals without identity are fragile. You can chase money and still feel empty. You can chase status and still feel insecure. But when you decide who you are becoming, your decisions start aligning automatically. If you say, I am becoming someone disciplined, then waking up early is no longer torture. It's alignment. If you say, I am becoming someone healthy, then saying no to junk food isn't sacrifice. It's identity. The next 5 years change when your identity changes. Here's where most people fail. They try to change their results without changing their standards. They say they want better outcomes, but they keep tolerating average behavior. You cannot build an extraordinary life with ordinary standards. Raise the standard for how you speak. Raise the standard for how you show up. Raise the standard for what you allow in your circle. Your environment is either pulling you forward or holding you back. There is no neutral. The conversations you entertain, the content you consume, the people you admire, they are shaping your beliefs every single day. If you want to fix 5 years, fix your inputs. Audit your life honestly. What habits are stealing your time? What relationships are draining your energy? What fears are controlling your decisions? You don't need to change everything overnight. You need to change direction deliberately. 1 degree of correction today creates a completely different destination 5 years from now. Small shifts, consistent action, clear identity. That's how transformation begins. Not with motivation, with decision. So decide, who are you becoming? Now let's talk about something most people avoid, responsibility. If you truly want to fix the next 5 years of your life, you must take radical ownership of where you are right now. Not partially, not when it's convenient, completely. It's easy to blame the economy, your parents, your boss, your past, your lack of opportunities. And sometimes those things are real. Sometimes they are unfair. But here's the hard truth, blaming them gives away your power. You cannot control everything that happened to you. But you are 100% responsible for what happens next. That shift from blame to ownership is where your future changes. Because the moment you say, this is on me, you become dangerous in the best way possible. You stop waiting. You stop hoping someone will rescue you. You stop negotiating with excuses. Instead, you ask a different question. Not why is this happening to me, but what is this trying to teach me? Every setback contains information. Every failure contains data. Every rejection carries direction. But only if you're willing to learn instead of complain. The next 5 years won't be defined by how perfect your plan is. They'll be defined by how you respond when things don't go according to plan. Resilient people aren't fearless. They're committed. They expect difficulty. They anticipate resistance. They understand that growth feels uncomfortable. And this is important. Discomfort is not a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're expanding. Right now, you might feel stuck, frustrated, behind. But feeling behind is often the wake-up call you needed. It forces you to confront the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And that gap, it's not there to discourage you, it's there to direct you. Instead of asking, why am I not further ahead, ask, what skills do I need to build? Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, say, I'm not trained enough yet. Skill can be learned, confidence can be built, discipline can be trained, but none of it begins until you stop outsourcing responsibility. If your finances are struggling, take ownership. If your health is declining, take ownership. If your relationships are weak, take ownership. Ownership is not self-blame, it's self-leadership. And leaders don't wait for perfect conditions. They create momentum in imperfect ones. The next 5 years of your life belong to the person who decides today that excuses are no longer acceptable. So ask yourself honestly, where have you been giving away your power? And what would change if you took it back right now? Now we need to talk about time, because the next 5 years of your life will not be shaped by what you intend to do. They will be shaped by what you do daily. Time is the most misunderstood asset you have. People treat it like it's renewable, like there will always be more. But time doesn't negotiate. It doesn't pause. It doesn't wait for you to feel motivated. It moves. And the question is not whether time is passing. The question is who you are becoming while it does. If you waste 2 hours a day, that doesn't feel dramatic. It feels harmless. But 2 hours a day is 14 hours a week. That's over 700 hours a year. Over 5 years, that's thousands of hours. That's the difference between mastering a skill and remaining average. That's the difference between building a business and talking about one. That's the difference between transforming your body and staying stuck in frustration. Small daily decisions compound. Here's where people get confused. They look for big breakthroughs. But breakthroughs are built on boring consistency. The gym doesn't change your body in one session. Reading one book doesn't transform your mindset. One conversation doesn't repair a relationship. But repeated daily actions, they change everything. The problem isn't that you don't have time. The problem is that your time doesn't reflect your priorities. If you say your health matters, but your schedule says otherwise, your schedule is telling the truth. If you say growth matters, but you spend hours distracted, your calendar is revealing your real values. Fixing 5 years begins with redesigning one day, not a perfect day. A structured one. Protect your mornings. Guard your focus. Decide in advance what matters most and eliminate what doesn't. You don't need to become extreme. You need to become intentional. Create non-negotiables, 30 minutes of learning, 1 hour of skill development, movement every day, focused work without distractions. You won't feel like doing it every day. That's normal. Discipline is not about feeling ready. It's about honoring commitments even when your emotions fluctuate. Because emotions are temporary. Standards are lasting. 5 years from now, you will not regret the disciplined mornings. You will not regret the focused hours. You will not regret investing in yourself. You will only regret the days you told yourself, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow is expensive, and the cost of waiting is your future. So start treating your time like it matters, because it does. Now let's talk about mindset, because the way you think determines the way you live. You can have the right habits, the right environment, and the right goals. But if your mindset is weak, it will sabotage everything. Most people don't fail because of lack of resources. They fail because of limited thinking. They don't see possibilities, they see obstacles. They don't see growth, they see risk. Mindset is the lens through which you interpret every experience. It decides whether you see failure as punishment or feedback, whether you see challenge as threat or opportunity. Here's the truth. Your current mindset was shaped by past experiences, by people, by culture. But the next 5 years don't have to be dictated by the past. You can train your mind the same way you train your body. You can strengthen it. You can expand it. You can sharpen it. Start by noticing your self-talk. The voice inside your head is constantly giving instructions. Is it empowering you or limiting you? Does it push you forward or keep you safe? Most people don't even realize how much they've internalized beliefs that aren't theirs, that serve no one. Then, take control. Decide that your mind will serve your goals, not sabotage them. Replace, I can't, with how can I? Replace, this is too hard with, what's the first step? Replace, I'm not ready, with I will learn as I go. A strong mindset doesn't mean you won't feel doubt or fear. It means you act despite doubt and fear. It means you anticipate setbacks and view them as necessary. It means you understand that discomfort is the currency of growth. The next 5 years will require you to stretch, to think bigger, to be accountable for every decision. And none of that is sustainable without mental resilience. Feed your mind daily. Read, listen, observe, question, reflect. Surround yourself with ideas that challenge you. Let curiosity outweigh complacency. Let learning be relentless. And remember, your mind is a habit factory. What you feed it repeatedly becomes automatic. Train it to notice opportunities. Train it to embrace challenge. Train it to persist. Because the next 5 years aren't just about actions. They're about the mindset that fuels those actions. Strengthen it now, and your future self will thank you. Neglect it, and your habits, environment, and vision will crumble under pressure. Your choice is simple. Control your mind, or your mind will control your life. Let's talk about fear. Because if you're honest, the reason you haven't changed your trajectory yet is not lack of information. It's hesitation. You know what you should be doing. You know the habits you need to build. You know the conversations you've been avoiding. The problem isn't clarity. The problem is fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of starting and not being good enough. Fear of outgrowing people. Fear of success and the responsibility that comes with it. And here's the paradox. Fear doesn't disappear when you wait. It grows. The longer you delay action, the more powerful the fear becomes. It convinces you that the risk is bigger than it actually is. It tells you that now isn't the right time. It whispers that you need one more course, one more plan, one more sign. But courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is acting while your voice shakes. If you want to fix the next 5 years of your life, you must build a relationship with discomfort. You must train yourself to move toward what scares you instead of away from it. Every meaningful leap in your life will require uncertainty. Starting the business, changing careers, ending the toxic relationship, having the difficult conversation, investing in your growth. None of those come with guarantees. But staying where you are, that comes with a guarantee. The guarantee that nothing changes. And sometimes the biggest risk is not taking one. Think about the version of you 5 years from now who didn't try, who stayed comfortable, who kept postponing. That version will not be proud of caution. That version will be haunted by potential. Now imagine the opposite, the version of you who tried, who stumbled, who failed forward, who learned in public, who stretched beyond comfort. Even if that version didn't achieve everything perfectly, they gained something far more valuable: confidence. Confidence doesn't come from thinking. It comes from evidence. Evidence that you can survive hard things. Evidence that you can adapt. Evidence that you can grow. Fear is a compass. It often points toward growth. So instead of asking, what if I fail? Ask, what if this is the move that changes everything? Your next 5 years will be shaped by the decisions you are most afraid to make. So choose one and take the step anyway. Now let's talk about people, because you will not fix the next 5 years of your life alone. We like to believe success is individual, that it's about personal grind, personal discipline, personal ambition. And yes, those matter, but the environment you place yourself in will either multiply your growth or quietly sabotage it. Look at the 5 people you spend the most time with, not who you admire online, not who you follow, the people you actually talk to. The people whose opinions influence you. Are they growing? Are they disciplined? Do they challenge you? Do they hold you accountable? Or do they normalize excuses? Do they celebrate mediocrity? Do they mock ambition? Here's something powerful. Your standards are contagious, but so are theirs. If you surround yourself with people who settle, settling starts to feel reasonable. If you surround yourself with people who stretch, growth starts to feel normal. You don't rise to your intentions. You rise to your environment. That doesn't mean you abandon everyone who isn't ambitious. It means you become intentional about proximity. Who gets access to your energy? Who gets access to your vision? Some relationships are anchors, others are engines. Anchors aren't evil. They're just heavy. They keep you in familiar waters. Engines, on the other hand, push you forward. They inspire you to think bigger. They expose you to new possibilities. They introduce you to standards you didn't know existed. If you want the next 5 years to look different, you may need new rooms, new conversations, new mentors, new communities. Growth requires exposure. You cannot build a large vision in a small mindset environment. And here's the uncomfortable part. Sometimes as you grow, certain relationships will change. Not because you're better, not because they're worse, but because alignment shifts. That can feel lonely. It can feel uncertain. But temporary loneliness is better than permanent stagnation. Find people who are slightly ahead of you. Not so far ahead that it feels impossible. Just far enough that it stretches you. Learn from them. Ask questions, observe their habits, study their thinking, and at the same time be someone who pulls others up, because teaching reinforces growth. The next 5 years will be shaped not only by what you do, but by who you allow to influence you. So ask yourself honestly, is your circle aligned with your future or with your comfort? Now let's talk about discipline. Because motivation is loud, but discipline's quiet. Motivation feels powerful in the moment. It gives you energy. It makes you feel unstoppable. But motivation is emotional, and emotions change. Discipline, on the other hand, is structural. It stays when the feelings fade. If you want to fix the next 5 years of your life, you cannot rely on how you feel. You must build systems that carry you when you don't feel inspired. Most people wait to feel ready. Disciplined people act regardless. They don't wake up excited every morning. They wake up committed. They don't always feel confident. They move anyway. They don't always feel focused. They remove distractions and start. Discipline is not punishment. It's self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, something powerful happens. You begin to trust yourself. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself you would start? Start the workout. Start the business idea. Start reading. Start saving money. And then you didn't. Every broken promise weakens your identity. But every kept promise strengthens it. The next 5 years are built on small promises kept daily. Wake up when you said you would. Do the work you plan to do. Follow through even when no one is watching. That's how identity shifts. Here's the advanced part. Discipline becomes easier when you remove friction. Don't rely on willpower alone. Design your environment for success. Put the book on your desk. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Delete the apps that steal your focus. Schedule your priorities before your distractions. Make the right action easier than the wrong one. And understand this. Discipline compounds just like time does. One disciplined day doesn't change your life, But one disciplined month, one disciplined year, 5 disciplined years, that creates transformation. The version of you 5 years from now will not be the result of one giant heroic effort. It will be the result of thousands of quiet, disciplined choices. You don't need to be extreme, you need to be consistent. Stop negotiating with yourself. Stop lowering the bar when it feels inconvenient. Raise your standard and protect it. Because discipline is not about control, it's about freedom. Freedom from regret. Freedom from chaos. Freedom from becoming someone you never intended to be. And that freedom begins the moment you decide that your word to yourself matters. Now let's talk about vision, because discipline without direction turns into burnout. If you're going to commit the next 5 years of your life to growth, sacrifice, consistency, and courage, you need a reason strong enough to carry you through the hard days. A clear vision pulls you forward. A vague desire pushes you nowhere. Most people say they want success, but success is too blurry, too generic, too safe. When things get difficult, a blurry vision collapses. So let me ask you something deeper. What does your life actually look like 5 years from now if everything goes right? Where are you waking up? Who are you surrounded by? How do you feel about yourself? What problems are you capable of solving? What level of responsibility are you carrying? Don't just think about money. Think about meaning. Think about impact. Think about the kind of person you've become in the process. Because the real reward of the next 5 years isn't the external outcome. It's the internal evolution. Vision is not fantasy, it's direction. When your vision is clear, decisions become easier. You say no faster. You protect your time harder. You tolerate less nonsense. You stop chasing distractions because they don't align with where you're going. Without vision, you react to life. With vision, you design it. Here's something powerful. Your brain works toward what you consistently imagine. If you constantly picture limitation, struggle, and failure, you unconsciously behave in ways that confirm it. But if you repeatedly visualize growth, capability, and leadership, your behavior starts aligning with that image. You begin to ask better questions. You begin to seek better environments. You begin to expect more from yourself. 5 years is enough time to reinvent your reputation, to master skills, to build something meaningful, to completely shift how people see you, and more importantly, how you see yourself. But only if you decide who you are becoming. Write it down, make it specific, make it measurable, make it emotional, not just, I want to be successful. I want to be physically strong, financially stable, emotionally grounded, and respected in my field. When your vision becomes personal, becomes powerful. And here's the truth, there will be days you don't feel like continuing. Days when progress feels invisible. Days when doubt gets loud. That's when vision matters most, because vision is the anchor during uncertainty. So stop drifting. Stop hoping the future magically improves. Decide what it looks like. And then start moving toward it, deliberately. Now let's bring this all together. The next 5 years of your life are not a mystery. They are a mirror. They will reflect your standards, your discipline, your courage, your environment, your vision. Nothing changes unless you change. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. You don't need more information. You don't need another video. You don't need the perfect plan. You need execution. You already know the habits that would improve your life. You already know the conversations you've been avoiding. You already know where you've been settling. Awareness is not the problem. Action is. 5 years from now, you will either thank yourself or question yourself. You will either say, I'm glad I started when it was uncomfortable, or I wish I hadn't waited. And that future version of you, they are being built right now. Not next month, not next year, today. This is the part where most people look for something dramatic, a massive leap, a complete overhaul. But transformation rarely begins with a giant move. It begins with a decision. A decision to wake up earlier tomorrow. A decision to have that hard conversation. A decision to invest in learning instead of scrolling. A decision to stop tolerating your own excuses. Small decisions, powerful direction. Imagine committing fully, not halfway, for the next 90 days, 3 months of focused effort, 3 months of higher standards, 3 months of discipline, clarity, and courage. If you can change 90 days, you can change a year. If you can change a year, you can change 5. Momentum is real. And once it starts, it compounds. The person you want to become is not waiting for permission. That version of you is waiting for commitment. So here's the final question. If nothing changes, what will your life look like in 5 years? And if everything changes because you changed, what becomes possible? You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be decisive. Start today, not because it's easy, not because it's guaranteed, but because your future is too valuable to leave to chance. The next 5 years are coming either way. Make sure they arrive on your terms.